scent of burnt toast usually signaled the start of another chaotic morning in the O'Connell household. Liam O'Connell, a man whose broad shoulders seemed perpetually hunched under the weight of unseen burdens, sighed as he scraped the blackened edges from Lily's breakfast. His daughter, a bright spark of 7, was already halfway through her cereal, humming a tuneless song about unicorns. "Dad, are we going to be late for school again?" Lily asked, her voice a cheerful chirp that belied the underlying routine of near misses. "Not today, Munchkin," Liam promised, forcing a smile. He glanced at the clock on the microwave. 7:15 a.m. Traffic would be a nightmare. His shift at the warehouse started at 8:30 a.m., and the bus ride alone took 40 minutes. Life as a single dad in the sprawling, indifferent city of Cresthaven was a constant juggling act, a tightrope walk between bills, responsibilities, and the fierce, unyielding love he held for Lily. Liam's hands, though calloused from years of manual labor, moved with a quiet precision that hinted at a different past. A past he rarely spoke of, a life lived in shadows and whispers, far removed from the mundane rhythm of school runs and minimum wage. His secret skill, as he privately called it, was a ghost, a phantom limb of a former existence. He was a master of observation, a silent predator, a ghost in the urban jungle. Once, he'd been a highly decorated operative, a specialist in unconventional warfare, his name whispered with a mix of awe and fear in certain circles. Now, he was just Liam, the single dad who could fix a leaky faucet and make surprisingly good pancakes, even if they sometimes came out a little crispy. Across town, in the gleaming glass and steel tower that pierced Cresthaven's skyline, Eleanor Vance was already immersed in the day's battles. CEO of Vance Innovations, a tech empire built on her ruthless intellect and unwavering vision, Eleanor was a force of nature. Her tailored power suit was as sharp as her mind, her movements precise, her voice a cool, authoritative instrument. She had built her fortune from nothing, clawing her way to the top of a male-dominated industry, leaving a trail of competitors and a few bruised egos in her wake. Eleanor lived a life of calculated risks and strategic triumphs. She was accustomed to being in control, to anticipating every move, to dominating every negotiation. But there were some threats even her formidable intellect couldn't foresee. Her day began with a flurry of meetings, each one a testament to her company's global reach. By late afternoon, exhausted but exhilarated, she decided to walk the few blocks to her private car, a rare indulgence in the city's bustling heart. Her security detail, usually a discreet but omnipresent shadow, had been momentarily diverted to an urgent, last-minute threat assessment at a company data center. Eleanor, ever confident, dismissed their concerns. "I'll be fine for 10 minutes, gentlemen. The fresh air will do me good." It was a mistake she would soon regret. Liam, having finished his shift, was walking home a rare treat. The bus was late, and the crisp autumn air felt good on his face. He was thinking about Lily, about the new book she wanted, about how he could swing a few extra hours to afford it. His mind was on the mundane, but his senses, honed by years of living on the edge, were always subtly alert. He noticed the black van first, parked a little too casually on a side street, its windows tinted, its engine idling. Then the two men in dark suits, loitering near the entrance of a high-end apartment, building their postures to stiff their eyes, scanning the street with a predatory intensity that spoke of something far more sinister than a simple business meeting. Liam's gut tightened. He knew that look. He'd worn it himself in different uniforms in different countries. Quickened his pace, feigning a casual stroll, his eyes darting, absorbing every detail. He saw her then. Eleanor Vance, unmistakable, even in a simple trench coat, emerging from the building, her phone pressed to her ear. She was alone, and she was walking straight into a trap. The two men moved, swift and coordinated. One grabbed her, clamping a hand over her mouth. The other produced a syringe, its needle glinting ominously. Eleanor struggled, a muffled cry escaping her, but their grip was iron. They were professionals. Liam didn't hesitate. His mind, usually burdened by the mundane, snapped into a hyper-focused state. The world seemed to slow down, every detail sharpening. The angle of the van door, the precise movements of the kidnappers, the terrified widening of Eleanor's eyes. His secret skill wasn't just about fighting. It was about tactical assessment, predictive movement, and exploiting the unseen weaknesses. He was a master of unconventional infiltration and close-quarters combat. He knew how to disappear and reappear, how to turn an urban landscape into a weapon, and how to neutralize threats with brutal efficiency. He was a ghost, and ghosts moved silently. Liam moved. Not with a shout, not with a dramatic charge, but with the quiet grace of a shadow. He slipped into an alleyway, using the cover of overflowing dumpsters and parked cars. He circled, anticipating their next move. The van, he knew, would be their escape route. The first kidnapper, a burly man with a shaved head, was about to shove Eleanor into the van. Liam emerged from the alley like a wraith, a blur of motion. His hand shot out, not in a punch, but a precise strike to the man's carotid artery. The man's eyes rolled back and he crumpled silently, unconscious. Before he hit the ground, the second kidnapper, startled, spun around, pulling a silenced pistol from his jacket. But Liam was already moving. He didn't try to grab the gun. Instead, he lunged, his body low, sweeping the man's legs from under him. The kidnapper hit the pavement hard, the gun skittering across the concrete. Before he could recover, Liam was on him. A knee to the chest, a swift, incapacitating blow to the jaw. The man went limp. Eleanor, still dazed by the suddenness of it all, stared at Liam, her eyes wide with shock and a dawning comprehension. The syringe lay forgotten on the ground. "Are you all right?" Liam asked, his voice low and calm, already scanning the street for any other threats. His adrenaline was pumping, but his mind was clear, focused. Eleanor could only nod, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She looked from the unconscious men to Liam, this ordinary-looking man who had moved with the lethal efficiency of a phantom. Suddenly, the van's engine roared. A third figure, the driver, realizing something was wrong, threw the vehicle into reverse, attempting to flee. Liam reacted instantly. He didn't chase the van. Instead, he spotted a discarded construction barricade nearby. With a grunt, he heaved it into the street, directly into the van's path. The van swerved violently, tires squealing, and slammed into a lamppost with a sickening crunch. The driver, stunned, slumped against the airbag. Liam approached the van cautiously, his senses on high alert. He checked the driver, ensuring he was incapacitated but not seriously harmed. Then, he turned back to Eleanor. "We need to get you somewhere safe," he said, his gaze sweeping over her, checking for injuries. "Is there anyone you can call?" Eleanor, still trying to process the surreal events, fumbled for her phone. Her hands were shaking. My security detail. There usually, but they were diverted." Liam nodded. "Right, give me the number. I'll make the call." He took her phone, his fingers flying across the keypad with an almost practiced ease. He spoke quickly, concisely, relaying the situation, the location, and the fact that the threat was neutralized. His voice, though calm, carried an undeniable authority that made the person on the other end of the line listen intently. Within minutes, sirens wailed in the distance. Police cars, followed by a black SUV filled with Eleanor's security team, converged on the scene. The leader of her detail, a burly ex-military man named Marcus, jumped out, his face etched with relief and concern. "Ms. Vance, are you all right?" "What happened?" Marcus demanded, his eyes scanning the scene, taking in the unconscious kidnappers. The crashed van and the calm, unassuming man standing beside his boss. Eleanor, still shaken, pointed at Liam. He saved me. They were going to, he just appeared, took them all down." Marcus looked at Liam, a flicker of professional curiosity in his eyes. He recognized the quiet confidence, the controlled stance. "Who are you, sir?" Liam shrugged, a humble gesture, just a concerned citizen. "Liam O'Connell." Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. He'd seen concerned citizens before, but none who could neutralize 3 armed kidnappers with such surgical precision. He made a mental note to dig into Liam O'Connell. The next few days were a whirlwind of police reports, media frenzy, and Eleanor Vance's profound gratitude. She insisted on meeting Liam again properly, away from the chaos. They met in a quiet cafe, a stark contrast to the interrogation room. Liam, dressed in his best casual clothes, felt out of place. Eleanor, however, treated him not as a subordinate but as an equal, a savior. Mr. O'Connell, she began, her usual cool demeanor softened by a genuine warmth. I don't know how to thank you. You saved my life. My security team, as capable as they are, would have been too late. Just glad I was there, Liam mumbled, feeling uncomfortable with the praise. Don't be modest, Eleanor said, her eyes piercing. What you did was extraordinary. I've had the best security money can buy, but I've never seen anyone move with such efficiency. You're not just a concerned citizen, are you? Liam hesitated. This was the moment, the truth, or another evasion. He looked at her at the genuine curiosity in her eyes, and knew she deserved to know. No, he admitted, his voice low. I used to be, in a different line of work, special operations, for the government. Eleanor's eyes widened slightly. I thought so. Your movements, they were too precise, too practiced. Why aren't you still in it? Liam sighed, a deep, weary breath that seemed to carry the weight of years. Things happened. Mission went sideways. I lost someone important, and I made a promise. To myself, to her, that I'd get out, that I'd live a quiet life. For Lily, paused, his gaze distant. She's my daughter, my world. Eleanor listened, her expression unreadable. She was a woman who valued efficiency and results, and Liam had delivered both in spades. But she also understood sacrifice. She had made her own, albeit of a different kind, to reach the pinnacle of her career. And now you work in a warehouse, she asked, her voice gentle. Liam nodded. It pays the bills, keeps a roof over our heads. Lily's happy. That's all that matters. But it's not all you're capable of, is it? Eleanor pressed. You have skills, Mr. O'Connell, skills that could change the world, or at least make it a safer place. Skills that very few possess. Liam shrugged. I'm out. It's too dangerous. I can't risk Lily. Eleanor leaned forward, her gaze intense. What if you could use those skills, but without the risk? What if you could make a real difference, provide for Lily, and still live a life of purpose? That conversation was the turning point. Eleanor Vance, a woman who rarely acted on impulse, saw something in Liam O'Connell that transcended his humble circumstances. She saw a man of immense capability, integrity, and a quiet strength, and she owed him her life. She didn't offer him a handout. Eleanor Vance was not in the business of charity. She was in the business of recognizing talent and leveraging it. Liam, she said during their next meeting, I'm offering you a position, head of global security for Vance Innovations. It's a newly created role. You'll build your own team, implement new protocols, and protect our assets, our people, and our intellectual property. The pay will be commensurate with your skills, and the hours will be flexible enough for you to be there for Lily. Liam was stunned. Head of global security? He? A warehouse worker? Ms. Vance, I don't have the corporate experience. You have something far more valuable, Eleanor countered. A world experience, a unique understanding of threats, and a proven ability to neutralize them. I trust you with my life, Liam. That's more than I can say for most corporate security chiefs. The offer was life-changing, not just financially, though the salary was more than he could have ever dreamed of. It was the opportunity to use his skills for a legitimate, impactful purpose, to build something, to provide a stable, secure future for Lily, without having to return to the shadows he had so desperately tried to escape. The transformation was gradual, but profound. Liam, initially awkward in boardrooms and uncomfortable in tailored suits, quickly adapted. His quiet intensity, his sharp insights, and his uncanny ability to anticipate threats earned him the respect of his new colleagues. He overhauled Vance Innovations' security infrastructure, implementing cutting-edge systems and training protocols that made the company virtually impenetrable. He hired a diverse team, many of them former military or intelligence operatives, giving them a second chance, a purpose beyond the battlefield. He created a culture of vigilance and preparedness, turning a reactive security department into a proactive, formidable force. And for Lily, life blossomed. They moved into a spacious apartment with a small garden. She attended a top-tier school, her bright mind thriving. Liam was able to be there for her, for every school play, every parent-teacher conference, every scraped knee. He taught her self-defense, not with the grim seriousness of a soldier, but with the playful discipline of a loving father, instilling in her a sense of confidence and awareness. Eleanor Vance, true to her word, became more than just Liam's boss. She became a mentor, a friend, almost a surrogate aunt to Lily. She saw the quiet strength in Liam, the deep love he held for his daughter, and the immense potential he possessed. She learned from him too about resilience, about humility, about the true meaning of sacrifice. Her own life, once solely defined by corporate conquests, gained a new dimension, a human connection she hadn't realized she was missing. The bond between them was unique, forged in the crucible of a life-or-death moment. Liam, the single dad with a hidden past, had saved the powerful CEO, and in return, she had not only given him a new life, but had also helped him reconcile with his past. To find a way to integrate his extraordinary skills into a peaceful, purposeful existence, years passed, Vance Innovations thrived, its security reputation becoming as legendary as its tech innovations, thanks to Liam. Lily grew into a confident, brilliant young woman, excelling in her studies, her future bright and limitless. Liam, no longer burdened by financial worries or the ghosts of his past, carried himself with a quiet dignity, his shoulders no longer hunched, but broad and strong. He still had the secret skill, the honed instincts, the ability to read a room, to spot the anomaly, to anticipate danger. But now, it was used not for covert operations in distant lands, but for protection, for building, for ensuring the safety of a company, and more importantly, the future of his daughter. Eleanor Vance, now a global icon, often spoke of the incident, though never revealing Liam's full story. She would simply say, "I learned that day that true strength isn't always found in boardrooms or balance sheets. Sometimes it's found in the quiet courage of an ordinary man with extraordinary hidden capabilities." The single dad had used his secret skill to save a CEO from kidnappers, and in that single decisive act, a chain reaction had begun transforming not just his life, but the lives of his daughter and the woman he had saved forever, intertwining their destinies in a testament to bravery, gratitude, and the unexpected paths that lead to true fulfillment. The burnt toast mornings were long gone, replaced by the quiet hum of a life well lived, a life earned, and a future brighter than he had ever dared to dream.